Hey everybody, welcome to the very first video of AWS Solution Architect series. And in this video, we'll be talking about IAM policy. So before we do that, let's jump into some of the AWS offerings, and we can segregate them between global services and regional services. So let's start with that. AWS services. Although there are a lot of services, we can't cover all of them, uh, but we'll cover some of them. So for the first one, we have global services. And then we have regional services. Okay, the global services, the topmost, the one we'll be discussing in this video is IAM. It's more like a user's account management service or role management service. Then we have Route 53. And it's more like a domain and hosting sort of a management service, just to give you a very brief idea about it. And then we have CloudFront. It's also one of the global services, and it's more like a CDN, hence global. Um, then we have a firewall service, also known as WAF. Within the regional services, we have something like Amazon EC2, Amazon EC2, which is like a unit of computing. So if you need to run any service which has or requires some form of computing, then Amazon EC2 is like the fundamental aspect of it. And beyond that, we have Amazon Beanstalk. So if you have a requirement where you need to get up and running real quick, so Amazon Beanstalk is your best take. So it really helps you to get up and running with your infrastructure because it has some sort of templates that you can use to build your infrastructure and just, ready to go. Then we have Lambda, which are more like functions running in the cloud. And then we have, for example, we can also add recognition, which is a ML-powered service which detects face within images and videos. So yeah, let's talk about these first. So before we proceed towards IAM, I want to talk about um, pyramid. Let's choose a different color for the sake of segregation. Let's draw a pyramid. Let's see. Okay, that's nice enough. And I'm going to segregate this pyramid into three sections. The top section, I'm going to call it SaaS, which stands for Software as a Service. Then I'm going to PaaS, which stands for Platform as a Service. And then I have IaaS at the bottom, which stands for Infrastructure as a Service. So normally, when we say I'm giving away something as software as a service, then my end users will be, just people. So I can say end users are the one who are going to use it directly. And when I say I'm offering something as a platform as a service, then obviously software developers are more likely be the one to actually use it, configure it according to their need. And for infrastructure as a service, as it involves whole infrastructure and different configuration entailing to it, then I would say uh, this is something for IT admin. Now, let's map our regional services to these, just to give you a bit of an idea. So when I say I'm using recognition, so this is basically a software as a service. When I say I'm using Amazon Beanstalk, since it offers a platform which has certain templates, which software developers can use to quickly get up and running. So this is more like a platform as a service. Then we have EC2, which is a lot of people might say it's a software as a service because it's like a fundamental of computing being offered. But that's not the case. It's infrastructure as a service because it has a lot of layers to it. There are a lot of configurations that you can do at so many levels, and it itself is an infrastructure being offered. And that leaves us with Lambda. And what do you think Lambda is? It's not an infrastructure, it's not a platform. It's seemingly somewhere between a software as a service and a platform as a service. It exists somewhere between here. And we can call it function as a service. And that's what it pretty much is. So I hope this explains it. Let's jump into what IAM basically is. So as we talked briefly while laying out the introduction, it's more like a service that offers you role management for different users, different accounts within an organization, or if you want to use it in an individual capacity. So what it has a bunch of users and groups. So these groups are obviously groups of users. And one user can be a part of like multiple groups. Multiple groups. Perfect. Now, what IAM policy basically is, it's policy as the name state, and it would definitely instruct something to be done, and it can be attached to either the users or the group of users. So if you're working in an organization and if you have a user group which says IT admin and it has all the IT administrators within it, so it's kind of convenient to attach one policy to a particular group. Saves you the time and redundancy, of course. Let's talk a bit about what a policy looks like because we'll be dealing with IAM policies a lot at every layer and with every AWS service. So let's talk a bit about it. So let me put down a heading. IAM policy. And the structure of it is something like this. So we'll have curly brackets and we'll have a version. So this can be something like, mostly it would be something dated. So 2024 02 27, something like that. Obviously, you would have an ID attached to it. This will be randomly generated, and the statement part is the heart of the policy itself. So it has a whole lot of deals here. So we would have a statement ID over here, again, something randomly generated for your policy. Then we'll have effect, and it would take values like allow or deny. Obviously, if you need to allow access to a particular service, you will be dictating it within this space over here. Then you would have principal, and again, this is a section where you can specify a particular account, a user, or a role to which the policy actually applies. And beyond that, you would have action. And this will be obviously the list of stuff you want to do. We'll discuss it in more detail once we actually proceed, because you would have to specify a few things over here which are like predefined. So we'll learn more about them. Then you have resources. Resource, and this would again take a list of resources. List of resources upon which the action is needed, upon which you need to apply a particular action. So this can be an S3 bucket, which is like a storage service that AWS offers. So quite a lot of stuff. You don't really need to memorize it, but it would be great if you sort of remembered these: effect, principle, action, and resource. These are like, as I stated, the heart of the policy in itself. So effect is whether you want to deny a particular access or allow a particular access. Principle is referring to account users and roles. Action is the action you need to do. It can be like get everything within a storage bucket or stuff like that. Resource would be the list of resources upon which the policy applies or takes effect. So yeah, that's what IAM policy basically looks like, and this is like a brief introduction of uh, IAM itself as a service. And we'll learn more about IAM and different aspects that it entails in the next video. Thank you for watching.